The film opens with an introductory text explaining its background. It states that replicants are bioengineered or artificial humans designed by the Tyrell Corporation for off-world use. Their immense strength makes them ideal as labor slaves. After a violent rebellion, their production was banned, leading to Tyrell's bankruptcy. The collapse of Earth's ecosystem in the mid-2020s paved the way for an industrialist named Neander Wallace, who excelled in synthetic farming to avert a hunger crisis. Wallace acquired the remnants of the Tyrell Corporation and created a new line of more obedient replicants. Many older Nexus 8 replicants with limited lifespans were still around and became targets for retirement. Those who hunted them were known as Blade Runners. The scene begins with the main character named K, who works as a Blade Runner. He is seen driving his vehicle and plans to visit a farm. The farm's owner, Sapper Morton, notices a Blade Runner vehicle parked outside and immediately goes inside his house. Upon entering, Sapper finds K already there. K wastes no time interrogating him about who he really is, suspecting that Sapper is a replicant. K attempts to negotiate his capture peacefully, avoiding any form of violence, but Sapper unexpectedly launches an attack. Despite the surprise, K manages to defend himself and ultimately kills Sapper. In the aftermath, when K is about to leave, he decides to scan the area. He notices a dead tree and walks over to it, spotting a small yellow flower. In this film story, plants and flowers are considered rare. K then instructs his scanning device to probe beneath the tree, and there he discovers a buried box, which he immediately reports to his superior, Lieutenant Joshi. Learning of K's discovery, Joshi orders him to return, promising to send a digging crew to retrieve it. Once back at home, K is greeted by his girlfriend Joy, who appears as a hologram. Joy seems very welcoming toward K and even pretends to cook for him. In the midst of it, K presents her with a gift called an emanator, a portable projector that allows Joy to move around freely without being confined to the home system. It is shown that Joy's movements are otherwise heavily restricted, relying entirely on the home's machine. At the same time, K receives an urgent assignment call. His department has analyzed the contents of the box he found at Sapper's place. It turns out that the box contains the remains of a woman's skull. They report that this woman passed away while giving birth, and it is revealed that her child survived. The most astonishing fact is that this woman was a replicant, who supposedly should not have been able to conceive. Joshi then instructs K to find and eliminate the child, to erase any evidence of this discovery. Subsequently, K goes to the Wallace Corporation to begin an investigation. Upon arrival, he is guided by someone named Love, who serves as Neander Wallace's assistant. It is shown that K is taken to a particular room, where Love plays recorded memories of a former Blade Runner named Rick Deckard. However, K does not gain much useful information from these recordings. While sitting in a public area, K is approached by 3 women involved in the sex trade, who were dispatched by an older woman to get close to him. But after discovering that K is a Blade Runner, 2 of them leave. The remaining one, named Mariette, stays behind to flirt with him. When she notices K's emanator lighting up, she assumes that K does not prefer real women like her, so she also leaves. The scene shifts to K deciding to return to Sapper's farmhouse for a more thorough investigation. Inside, he finds only a single baby's sock. He then exits the house and inspects the tree where he previously discovered the buried box. There he notices a number, 61021. Suddenly he feels an odd familiarity with this number. Afterward, he burns down Sapper's house. In a separate sequence, K arrives at the station and reports his findings to Lieutenant Joshi. The scene then transitions to K and Joy, who are together examining a compilation of DNA data. Joy also seems to encourage K, suggesting that he is someone special. She insists that he is not an artificial being like the other Blade Runners, but rather a child who was truly born. Joy even displays a small wooden horse as additional evidence to strengthen her argument. In that moment, they notice something very unusual: 2 identical DNA entries. In principle, that is impossible because each person should have a unique DNA signature. K theorizes that one of them may be a manipulated copy to serve a particular purpose. Even more strangely, both subjects are listed as having stayed in the same orphanage. Wasting no time, K rushes to this orphanage. On the way to the orphanage, Kay's vehicle is attacked by an armed group, causing him to lose control and crash. Though he is ambushed by a mob, he successfully holds them off. Shortly afterward, he unexpectedly receives help from Love, who uses missiles fired remotely to eliminate Kay's attackers. It is revealed that Love, while under medical treatment, carried out the attack from afar. Upon entering the orphanage, Kay meets the person in charge. When Kay states his identity and mission, the caretaker refuses to cooperate once he realizes who Kay is. Consequently, Kay shows a bit of force, which finally compels the man to help him. He leads Kay to an orphanage records room. While on the way, Kay experiences a sense of déjà vu about a particular corner of the building, but initially dismisses it. When they open the files on the children Kay is looking for, they discover that the specific page has already been torn out by someone else, rendering it useless. As Kay is about to leave, he passes by that corner again, the one that caught his attention. Suddenly he recalls a memory and realizes this place strongly resembles the setting of one of his own recollections. Kay wanders around and heads to the exact spot where he supposedly hid the wooden horse. Indeed, he finds the wooden horse there, confirming that the memory is actually his. It aligns perfectly with what Joy had told him earlier about his feelings. Back home, Kay confides in Joy about his findings at the orphanage. Joy becomes even more convinced that Kay is not an artificial being, but an actual child who is born. Kay is left feeling conflicted and uncertain which truth to believe. Frustrated, he visits Dr. Anna Stelline to seek answers. In this storyline, Dr. Anna is placed inside a protective chamber due to issues with her immune system. While they talk, Dr. Anna asks permission to answer Kay's questions as she simultaneously continues her work. She is shown to be a specialist in creating memories. She is employed by Wallace Corporation to implant recollections in replicants. Kay questions how to distinguish genuine memories from fabricated ones. Dr. Anna then examines one of Kay's memories. In short, she confirms that the memory is indeed real, prompting emotional reactions in both Dr. Anna and Kay. This intensity of feeling contrasts starkly with Kay's usual stoic demeanor. Unfortunately, during Kay's routine examination at work, his score falls below acceptable levels, angering Lieutenant Joshi. However, Kay reports that he has identified the child in question, which makes Joshi give him a second chance to continue his investigation. Once he is back at his apartment, Joy provides him with a gift by hiring Mariette, the same sex worker Kay met before, to synchronize with Joy. In practice, Joy, who is a hologram, can overlap her projection onto Mariette, giving Joy a temporary physical form so that Kay can experience genuine tactile contact. Joy also plans to make their intimacy more tangible. The next morning, after Mariette wakes up, she secretly slips a tracker into Kay's jacket before leaving, having been told by Joy to go. Kay, who still has a mission, goes to visit a person he believes can trace the origin of the wooden horse. Eventually, Kay obtains valuable clues from this person, here identified as a sort of black market contact named Badger, and figures out where the horse most likely came from. Even so, Badger warns that the region is abandoned and highly contaminated by radiation. Undeterred, Kay ventures there anyway. The area is indeed barren and radioactive, just as Badger had warned. With his vehicle damaged, Kay proceeds on foot to search the site. He enters a deserted building and comes across Rick Deckard. Rick is very cautious with strangers and keeps a suspicious tone during their conversation. At one point, he shoots at Kay, causing him to fall. But as Rick attempts to investigate, Kay slips away. Unexpectedly, Kay steps onto a trap Rick has set up, though it doesn't kill him. Eventually, Kay makes it into a large hall filled with holographic entertainment systems. When Rick enters and tries to find Kay, Kay ambushes him, and they engage in a fist fight. In the end, Rick proposes they stop fighting and simply talk over a drink. After a lengthy conversation, while they are relaxing, Love and her team suddenly arrive. They had tracked Kay via Joshi's computer link. With superior numbers, Love and her forces easily overpower Kay and Rick. They capture Rick and delete Joy, destroying her for good. While Kay is rendered unconscious, he is then taken in by a certain group, revealed to be allies of Rick and long ago of Sapper as well. It turns out that Mariette, the woman Kay encountered before, is part of this group. Various facts come to light, including that the skeletal remains belonged to Rachel, Rick's partner from the earlier Blade Runner story. It becomes clear that the child is indeed the offspring of Rick and Rachel, which led to Rick's abduction by Wallace's people. They also confirm that the child is female, leaving Kay heartbroken over the collapse of his hopes. He had thought that he might be that special child. In the following scene, Rick regains consciousness and finds himself in Neander Wallace's chamber, with Wallace present as well. A version of Rachel as she appeared years ago is brought in, but Rick notices a discrepancy. Her eye color is wrong. Realizing he cannot fool Rick, Wallace has Love shoot this younger Rachel replicant on the spot. Meanwhile, Kay arrives near the Wallace headquarters. He then attempts to intercept Love, who is taking Rick somewhere else. An aerial fight ensues, with Kay managing to shoot down the accompanying craft. Only Love's vessel remains, still carrying Rick. Kay ultimately forces Love's vehicle to crash into a body of water. He confronts her to free Rick, but Love proves to be a formidable opponent. They engage in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. In the end, Kay triumphs by drowning Love until she runs out of air. She does not survive. At last, Kay brings Rick to see his daughter. He returns the wooden horse that originally belonged to her. The truth is revealed. Rick's child is actually Dr. Anna Stelline, and with that, the film concludes. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.